Mr. Guruprasad Mohapatra is Secretary of DPIIT. Mr. Mohapatra, thank you so much for taking the time out. Everybody is happy with the norms that have been announced. Can you tell us as to what the thought process that went behind this? And is this the first set of other things that will come out in due course of time as well, sir?
As you know, after the election of the new government, a lot of changes are expected. There is an unfinished agenda which has been started from the last term. So we've been working on this. It was also mentioned briefly in the finance minister's budget speech. She indicated as much that the reforms in FDI are expected. So we're working on that, and that's what came out yesterday.
This FDI for merchant miners. Now, FDI was allowed for captive coal mining so far. This increases the purview as well. The question is, a lot of brokerages which have written on this, sir, are saying that in the past, when FDI was allowed in some of the other largely government-held sectors, we haven't seen enough investment, and some of the other regulatory hurdles might still not bring in money at a faster clip in coal mining as well. Your thoughts out here, sir?
This reform in FDI in the coal is a consequence of the earlier cabinet approval which came on the coal auction policy. This is actually an offshoot of that and a natural consequence of that. So now, if you recall the earlier cabinet resolution which happened a couple of months back on auctioning of coal mines. So obviously those which will come now, FDI will be allowed in that. It will open up the sector, and there is no restriction of captive sales. So now you can sell in open market. And also the associated infrastructure like washery, sizing and all. So that's a major relief, and I think since the policy is clear on auctioning once the coal ministry does it, there will be, I foresee a lot of possibilities in that.
Good morning, Mr. Mohapatra. Just to get a sense from you, is there any back of the end calculation as to how much all of these measures are likely to boost the FDI numbers for the consecutive years to come? Because we've been seeing a slight bit of a slippage in terms of the overall FDI that has been coming into the country.
No, I won't like to make a guess like that because firstly it's too early and secondly it's not proper to guess like that. But these activities that have come, these decisions that have been taken, these have been coming out of a lot of discussions we are doing with the stakeholders. We see a lot of interest in precisely these activities which have been approved by the cabinet yesterday, be it single brand retail, be it coal, be it contract manufacturing. So these are not just done on a drawing room exercise. They are based on a lot of interactions that the ministry does, the entire government does. And so based on that, and I think there will be a lot of possibilities in this.
Do you think this will integrate in the Indian manufacturing into the global supply chain?
Definitely. This is a very major initiative towards that.
Right.
And as the Commerce Minister clarified yesterday in his formal press briefing, so the global value chain has a different consequence, a different pattern in which it operates. And with these initiatives that we have taken at the opening of the sector, is just to fill up that gap. So I see a lot of possibilities in this.
Right. The other aspect obviously will be, the fact that, we've been hearing conversations of how the money that will come into the country is going to fill the gap that probably, some of these segments are finding difficult to get through in terms of internal sources. So do you think that is a good enough amount that could fill this gap?
That's precisely the purpose of FDI. It is basically to add to your own investment capacity, domestic investment capacity. It adds to that and it brings a perfect synergy. These are the sectors where we found there are gaps, and this will be an ongoing exercise. It's not that it ends. And yesterday, the Commerce Minister also clarified that though there's a global slowdown in FDI, in India the pattern is different, and with these measures we expect further boost to the FDI in India, particularly in some of the sectors that have been further opened up yesterday.
Just one small clarification and one forward-looking statement, sir. First, a clarification. Digital media did not have limits earlier. So this technically what has been announced yesterday is not a permission but a setting of a limit of 26%, right, sir?
It didn't have any limits in the sense that it is not mentioned at all. So there is lack of clarity. So it was felt that there should be, just like in the print media, there should be a clarity. It should be a separate category by itself. We better recognize that. And then there is a limit which is prescribed through the government route, approval route.
Okay, just one final question from my end, sir. There's talk of some WTO compliant export promotion schemes in the works as well. Anything to that effect that you can speak about, or by any timelines thereof?
No, that is definitely an ongoing concern that the entire ministry is working on it, as well as many allied ministries. And obviously, India would not do anything which is not WTO compliant. But within the framework of WTO, all the ministries are working on that, including our Ministry of Commerce and Industry.
Okay. Thanks so much for taking the time out this early in the morning and speaking to us, Mr. Mohapatra. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.